All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. It is Wednesday, March 29th of 2023 here, and you know what that means. Tomorrow is opening day of the MLB season. This is going to be an MLB focus show. If you guys have questions about MLB specifically, we're going to be addressing those today on this show here. So for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew, one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. It's a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions. You can post questions live in the YouTube chat or in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord, there's a link in the description below to get joined up. And if you are looking for an optimizer to check out ahead of the MLB season, we have a 7-day no strings attached free trial linked in the description as well. Check us out. Come on this show. Get your questions answered. We do this show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. But fun day here. There's an NBA Millie Maker tonight. Good luck to all playing that contest. If you guys have some tickets or are dipping your toes into that toward the end of the season here. And then we have the big 11-game main slate for MLB tomorrow. If you guys didn't catch our show yesterday, we just released support for a new DFS site, a smaller site called OwnersBox. We are the one major optimizer supporting OwnersBox. We're doing a big promotion to have our users play on that site and earn free SaberSim credit. If you guys didn't catch that, there is a page linked in the office hours channel from yesterday. I'll actually pull that up on the screen for you guys here. Snowman said, nice shirt. Thanks, man. Qualified for the MLB live final for FanDuel last year in Chicago. So had to bust it out ahead of the season. Starting off tomorrow. It's not teeing off. It's pitching off, whatever you want to call it. But for those of you who might have missed the show yesterday, SaberSim plus OwnersBox. This is a page over in the office hours channel where basically it tells you about our new partnership with OwnersBox, what the site is like, ways to earn free SaberSim credit. So if you go and play on OwnersBox and use promo code SABER or promo code SaberSim when signing up through this link, two things. One, they offer a up to $500 deposit bonus. So they will match your deposit up to $500. And then across all sports, if you're playing NBA, if you're playing MLB, if you get $3,500 in entry fees over, however long, you will get one free month of standard, or you could wait and then get $5,000 of entry fees for 1 month of pro. And then if you get up to $7,500 in entry fees, you can get a free month of the prop plan. This is a cycling promotion. So the promotion is basically, let's say, you play 3 months of MLB and you get to this $3,500 entries, you get your free month of SaberSim. That restarts. So then your next $3,500 in entry fees, you get another free month of SaberSim. So the longer you play on OwnersBox, you're just going to keep accumulating these free months. So I would recommend checking it out. Smaller site, not a lot of support for it. So contests should be softer, and that is always good contest selection principles. Find the softest contests to get the longest long-term ROI. But just wanted to mention that for anybody who didn't catch the show yesterday here. And getting back to SaberSim, we have, plenty of questions to get us started today. If anybody has any more questions, now is a great time to get them in. I just quick story, Snowman. I don't know if you guys have heard this one before or not, but I qualified for the FanDuel live final last year, and then we were supposed to fly out to Chicago on Thursday. And then that Saturday night, I went to the hospital and got appendicitis and had to have surgery, so I couldn't travel and I couldn't go to the event. And Matt was at the event, Eric was at the event, Will was at the event. Ben was at the event, just a bunch of the SaberSim guys that you guys see on all these shows, and was really looking forward to meeting everybody and didn't get to go. And the worst part is I'm a huge baseball fan. So they got to take batting practice at the White Sox stadium live on the field. So I was really looking forward to that. So just was a very, very depressing time, but just going to have to run it back and see what happens there. but just a little fun story I like to tell. Okay, getting into MLB questions that we have today. So first one came in from Sequence. Wish I had a better answer for you here, Sequence, but said for today's MLB opening day Q&A, hey Andrew, I don't mind bottom of the order stacks, but say when I run 4-4 stack types, I don't want both stacks to include bottom of the order hitters. What's the most efficient way to limit 8-9 hitters per lineup? So this is a good question. I was like diving around in the app trying to figure out different ways to do this. I don't think there's a necessarily great way to handle this with rules or anything like that. But I was thinking the only way you could probably handle this is through like a min salary. So if you're, stacking teams and you're getting, multiple like 7, 8, 9 hitters, you're probably not using a ton of salary in that way, right? So if we like sort by batting order here, your bottom of the order guys are usually going to be a lot cheaper, 2,000, 3,000, 20, like, all kind of under this like 3,500 salary kind of benchmark with some exceptions here, as opposed to like your top of the order guys. They're all going to be in like the 4K plus range. Sometimes I think some of this will work itself out as the season goes on. But, you got Paul Goldschmidt, Anthony Rizzo, Lindor, Vlad Jr., Willie Adames, these guys are all over like the 4K, 4,500 salary range. So I think that, you could run lineups and run stacks with or just see what your stacks look like. And then if you're getting too many bottom of the order guys, maybe increase your min salary. So by making the builder use more salary, you're less likely to get some of those bottom of the order guys, unless the builder is doing something really specific. And then if the builder is doing something along those lines, I would be open to interpreting the lineups like, okay, why is it using these 8-9 guys? Are we paying up for pitchers? Are we stacking the chalkiest teams where, Vlad, we're stacking an Ohtani Trout stack and we got to get some salary relief. So maybe we're playing like an 8-9-1-2 where it's 8-9 from the Angels, and then you circle back to the top of the lineup, and then it's Trout, Ohtani, right? And they have a lot of correlation. So I would do my best to try and interpret the lineups, see why you're getting those stacks. But I think that min salary can be a way of potentially limiting those type of players, but not just a great way to do it with rules, unfortunately. All right. Just a quick one here. I noticed this in the app myself earlier. Snowman asked a question about allow batters versus opposing pitchers in the builder. So he mentioned this here. I went and looked, and this was toggled on for me automatically here. And then when I changed the entry limits, I just toggled to anything else. It kind of reanalyzed and auto turned off. So like for a big 11 game slate, this should be off by default. If you see it on, just change some settings and then see if that auto turns off, which it did for me. So this should really only be turned on in like very, very small slates, maybe like 2, 3, 4 game. Maybe I'm not sure about a 4 game, but if you guys see anything weird, just give the build settings a once over and that should sort itself out. All right. Next question here from Neil. Neil said, hey, Andrew, what are your thoughts on setting min salary to 0 for MLB? I like to remove as many limitations as I can before I build lineups, but maybe I'm giving up EV by allowing lineups with a lower salary in my pool. So, yeah, so this is like a really, really interesting question, right? This is kind of the exact opposite approach of like what Sequence was trying to do, but it really comes down to what you're looking for, right? I think that baseball is a super high variance game. And you could see that by just looking at any individual player's histogram here, where they're far from normally distributed. They are, skewed usually to the right here. And that just says a lot about how variant these players are overall. So I think opening up the salary band and letting the builder, get a little weird is okay. It's going to differentiate you from the field. We can run a test build and then just see what it's looking like here. So I'm just going to run 500 lineups. I'm going to run it on like bigger settings here. And then we're just going to kind of we're going to see what the lowest salaries we're getting are, and then we're going to kind of see if those lineups at the bottom end of the salary range pass the eye test, and why are these lineups coming up. And then I think that experiment can always guide you to say, what should I do from there. But we do have a default min salary. I think that, for the most part, I'm okay just leaving it as is. I think if you want to get a little different, you can experiment with some of these things. So I'm going to make 2 quick changes here to point totals so we can see our lineups. I'm going to go in and sort by salary. And I actually want to sort by inverse salary here. So it's sorting descending highest to lowest. I want to sort lowest to highest here. This is really interesting. So our lowest salary lineup with, I swear I put it at 0. Oh, I didn't. My bad. So I got to rerun this one more time. I was like, wow, this is like really crazy. We're at 49K and I didn't even touch anything, but I didn't zero it out. So zero it out. I think I changed the build settings after I zeroed it. So my bad, but should be pretty quick to update here. So let's run this build one more time, and then we're going to go and do this experiment. Real quick question from Patrick said, where's the live actual scoring for NBA? It's been missing from the sim. So I know we had some issues with it over the weekend. It looked like that got worked out yesterday afternoon. If we're missing it again, I can bring it up to the team and then see what's going on. But I'll make a note for myself here, actuals, NBA missing, and then I'll follow up with the team, and then I can post something in the office hours channel later. So, all right, getting back to this here. Going to make my 2 adjustments here, and then going to inversely sort by salary, and then see what our lowest salary lineup is. So our lowest salary lineup is like actually really low at 37,400 here. We're getting a lot of really low lineups here. Pretty interesting. These lineups are all stacked. It's like a 4-3 stack. Really, really low ownerships for a lot of these batters. Pretty interesting. Frankly, I don't know how comfortable I would be playing these lineups. I don't know where these lineups would ultimately fall here. This is Saber score. What are we looking at here? Saber score rank. Okay, so I'm interested to see if this pops up. Okay, so this is a 85.6 is our highest here. 85.6, 85.6, 85.5. When I sort by salary, I'm surprised that it goes away. That seems like a bug to me. But I guess since you're not using it, it can't show all of them. So I'm trying to figure out a good way to identify differently which sorting method, where these end up. But I mean, this is a hard one. We're getting some really low salary lineups here. I don't know how comfortable I would be playing all these lineups. I mean, the great thing is that they're big game stacks, and baseball is like a super high variance sport. So at least like we're not getting lineups with a bunch of one-offs in these super low salary lineups. I think what is happening is like the correlation aspect of these lineups is what is causing them to show up in the builder. But I guess I would say like be careful doing this. And I think that, sticking with the min salary is probably a good idea to start. You could lower it, maybe instead of 49,000, you lower it to 47,000 here. I'm just a little concerned about playing a super low salary lineup where, almost all of your batters are like 6 or lower here. But it's showing up for some reason. I just don't know if that is a lineup that I ultimately want to try right off of the bat. But I think these experiments are good. These are kind of how you get answers to these questions as they pop up, Neil. So if you have an idea or a thought, put it in practice, put it in the app, and see what it comes up with, and then see if you're comfortable with the result on the other side. So that's what I could tell you guys there. All right, question from Chase. Chase said, will the MLB Lineups channel be like NBA and show significant projection changes? So this is a good question. I actually had to go and get an answer on this from the team. So the answer is we won't have anything that's like a significant projection change. The way we do it for NBA is like within the hour. The problem is the hour before lock. The problem with MLB is that lineups can come out, usually up to like 3 hours before lock, and the game times are like kind of really spread out. So the only thing that you will see in the MLB lineup alert channel is sim starting for pitcher change and sim starting for lineup confirmation. So you'll see new sims run, and then we will say why they are running. So if there's a pitching change, we will note that there is a pitching change and that's why this sim is running. Or if we get a confirmed lineup, we will say sim started for lineup confirmation. So you won't see like the projection adjustments. You'll just see a little more reason why some of the sims are running closer to lock. So be on the lookout for those things. All right. Question from Kevlar87. Question is, with MLB season upon us, are there any basic rules you recommend setting for building lineups, stack metrics, etc.? Just looking for a baseline to get started with. Thanks for all you do. Yeah, so happy to help here. One rule that I feel like we've been talking about a lot, that I think a lot of users are going to use, which I think is like totally fine, is this baseline stack rule for players who do not have a high home run expectation. Just going to leave this up on the screen so you can see it. Actually going to remove the comment just to make sure that you can see all the details here. Basically, what this rule is saying is if there is a player on a team who has a home run expectation of less than 0.1, which is like less than 10%, use that player in a stack. It doesn't have to be 3. You can make it like a 2 stack or 2 additional players to make it like a 3 stack total. But I think that this rule makes a lot of sense on its own without the ability to hit a home run I mean, not without the ability, but just with the lower likelihood of hitting a home run and getting all your points with one swing of the bat, regardless of the rest of your team. Baseball is a team sport. Scoring is really done on like a team level. Runs, RBIs, etc. Really, you're gonna steal when a pitcher goes into the stretch, right? You got to get on base. Pitcher has to go into the stretch now, and then you get the ability to get some stolen bases. So all of that really comes into play. I think that if a player has a low home run expectation, I think that this rule is a good baseline rule. All right, question from Bill's Nut 66. Question is, much of your content is focused on DK for MLB. My understanding is that FanDuel is a softer site and that I should focus my play there. Do you agree? If not, in your opinion, why is DK a better site for bankroll building in MLB? So good question here. I would say that I don't know if FanDuel is like actually softer. I haven't seen any research or like experimentation on that, mostly just because FanDuel doesn't allow for, I think probably the one reason why FanDuel would be like quote unquote softer is because they don't allow you to download CSVs from their contests. So you can't really do a lot of FanDuel back testing. A lot of the sharpest players, aren't able to get the contest information and basically learn more about like optimal FanDuel strategy. So like maybe that's what keeps some like the best players away. But there are a lot of good players on both sites. I would say the biggest difference from my point of view is that DraftKings has more contests or a better contest selection under the $3 threshold. So there's like the dime times, and then the quarter jukebox, and then the 50-cent mini max, and then the $1 mini max, and then you just kind of can get more money down. And then also they have their alternate slates, right? The alternate slates are a lot bigger on DraftKings as opposed to FanDuel. So like if you're going to play, MLB and you're playing all the good stuff on the main slate and you want to get more money down, you can go and play the alternate slates as opposed to moving up in stakes. So, play someone like, if they have like some turbos or some night slates or something like that, you can get those contests like slate lobbies are like pretty healthy. If you go on FanDuel mostly just focuses on the main slate. So like you can only get action down on the main slate. And then I think that you run out of contests to play a little faster. So I think that's why some of our content is DK focused, but I would definitely play both sites if you are having trouble getting enough money down, right? Or if you're kind of getting all of the action down on the smaller stuff. experiment with FanDuel with the main slates there. I think that both sites can be good. Okay, next question here from Phantom. Phantom said, Andrew, do you have a rule of thumb for how exposed you like to be on batters and pitchers? I know mini leagues will help this a lot this season. Good question. I would say that, I'm always more comfortable being highly exposed to pitchers just because their range of outcomes are a lot more consistent, I guess is like the right word here. And our adjusted ownership is going to help a lot with that this season. If you look at adjusted ownership for Corbin Burnes, it's basically right at his regular ownership. And then go and look at Joey Gallo here, right? Expected 28% owned, batting in the 4 spot, pretty low salary overall. So he's going to be like a popular like point per dollar play. But his adjusted ownership is so much higher, right? So what we are saying, I think Joey Gallo has this reputation as like a boomer bust guy, super high strikeout rate. But if he's not striking out, he's probably hitting like doubles and home runs, right? So you go pull up his distribution. His highest outcome is basically 0 here with this big tail event here. His adjusted ownership is 15% higher than his regular ownership. That is our way of telling the builder, hey, this guy is really high variance and might be bad chalk, or just be careful with the amount of lineups that you're putting him in. He is not a like smash guarantee play to get to this outcome. So I would lean on some of this stuff that we're doing internally here, but I don't have any like hard and fast rules as to how exposed I want to be. I would just say that, if your highest exposures are to batters above pitchers, I would be a little concerned about that, right? Like if you flip these 3 guys, I have 3 guys here, Burnes, Cole, McClanahan, that are all pitchers as my highest exposures. And then I go 3 batters. I think that's fine. If you were to flip this and have like 3 batters higher than all your pitchers, I would be a little concerned about that. And I would just like look into that further. Not to say that I wouldn't go with it, but I would like try and do some research and, look at my entire pool, maybe run like a research build and try and figure out why that is occurring. But this is something that I'm happy to be seeing right off the bat with minimal adjustments. And I would be comfortable with this type of exposure limits to pitchers versus batters, but I'm definitely treating the two differently. All right. AK Knowledge said, last year I started SaberSim around the start of MLB. One heartbreak is seeing those 0 fantasy points by the end of the game. Is there something to keep an eye out to avoid this, or is it just part of the game because of the wide variation? Yeah. So, baseball, you're going to get some zeros. That's okay. Honestly, you can still take down GPPs with, 1-0 in your lineup. Baseball is like that type of sport. Let's say that you have like a 4 stack of Milwaukee here, and 3 of your guys get like 20 points, and then one guy gets like a 0 or maybe just like a walk or something where he has like 2 points. You can still take down GPPs with those lineups. So I wouldn't be super discouraged if you end up with like 1-0 or 1 low batter in your lineup. It's not a sport like NBA where, you need all of these guys to like be on fire to have a shot to win. Baseball is a little different. Baseball is a lot closer to hockey. There's plenty of hockey lineups I've seen, in the Discord, on DFS Twitter, where a player has like 1-0 in his lineup and still takes down GPPs. So just don't get super discouraged if you have an outcome like that. All right, looks like AK responded to Phantom there just about exposures. Gonna jump over to the YouTube chat now. And Ryan said, obviously bigger prize pools for MLB on OwnersBox tomorrow, but also only let you enter 3% of total entries. The NBA contest let you enter up to 9%, and Sharps just flooded the contests yesterday. So I actually didn't know that they're doing this, that they allow up to like 9% for one individual player to take up in a contest. I'm really careful with stuff like that. Even if you can max it out, do you really want to, right? Like what prize do you have to achieve, or what place in the standings do you have to achieve to like pay for that? So yeah, maybe you can like max it out and get like 9%, but do you have to come in second place to break even, right? So I would say, if players want to take up that much of the contest, I think that's fine. I would just, something I do is just like general. I don't know if this is like good or bad, but something I like to do is I'll like to look at like what 10th place pays and basically only enter like up to that amount. There's been a lot of conversation in like the DFS ecosystem about, there's not a big difference between getting 10th and getting first, especially in these like super large field events where it's like, tens of thousands of entrants. You're already in the top 0.01% of the contest, or, really high in the top 1.1% of the contest, that, it gets very variant as to, a player making a free throw versus missing a free throw, or making a 3-pointer versus missing a 3-pointer. It could be very, very drastic in the amount that you get paid in these contests. So I like to look for like, what does 10th pay? And then, okay, it's, that ends up being only, 20 entries as opposed to 150. And I'm okay with that. And I'll just ride with my 20 entries in that scenario. But, something else that Andy mentioned yesterday is that, OwnersBox is a smaller site. They're kind of up and coming. We've been able to give them feedback as to the type of contest that they're offering, the prize pools that they're offering. So, this partnership is new. We're kind of kicking it off for the MLB season. I would probably say that we had some input as to only allowing up to 3% for a player to play in a contest or like consume those entry fees. So that's another good thing. We are aware of, super top heavy prize pools and how much equity a individual player is playing. We're able to give some feedback and they're really receptive to that. So just some notes for you guys there. We are looking out for the broader SaberSim community in that aspect. All right, Patrick said, how many sims will usually run before and during an MLB slate? I know sims will run after confirmed batting order, run another sim an hour before lock. So usually the sims will, the lineups come out like 3-ish hours before lock. So I'd say once those confirmed lineups and confirmed pitchers come out, we probably won't run any more sims. There is not like a like NFL or something like that where like, okay, run a sim an hour before lock. I don't think it's like that because of the timing of the lineups and stuff like that. So just be on the lookout for check marks in the app. I think that's probably going to be your best friend, is coming in here, seeing what teams have been confirmed, what pitchers have been confirmed, and you'll be able to see all those statuses in the app. But I don't think there's anything like run a sim always before 1 hour prior to lock. All right. Question from Ryan. I usually enter 0.01 of the entries on Yahoo with the smaller contests, and I definitely will be doing the same on OwnersBox with how many entries that they let you enter in these small contests. Yeah, no, really similar to what I was talking about. I think it is totally fine to deliberately enter less than the max. We've talked about this concept in the past where in theory you're putting your highest EV lineup in the contest first, and then every entry after that is technically lower EV, even if it's, minute or very minor. So there is nothing negative EV about entering less contests than the max into an individual contest, and only one lineup can ultimately win first. So that's another thing that is, you're lowering the EV every time you enter a new lineup, but what you're trying to do is maximize or increase the rate at which you achieve that outcome, right? So there's definitely a trade-off in that respect. AK said, Andrew showing off the threads today. Had to. Patrick said, this pertains to my first question. When is it applicable to start building once batting order is confirmed? So I would say, look out for the lineups that start at lock. And then I think it's fine to start building lineups once the initial lineups are confirmed, because baseball is another sport where you can always go back and late swap. Jordan talked about this. If you guys haven't caught this yet, just want to point this out. I was able to dive into all of this prior to the start of the show. We released a new playlist. It is how to beat MLB DFS in 2023. It is a 4-video strategy series and then a models interview at the end here. So these 4 videos about, contest selection and new things in the app and how to apply them and how to think about MLB strategy is in these first 4 videos. And then this 5th video is our Jordan's interview with the models team, Eric and Will, about what is new for the MLB model, areas of future improvement, areas that users can research and add value to the process. So I would highly recommend checking out these videos ahead of the start of the MLB season here. All right, getting back to the app. But yeah, so I'd say, one thing that Jordan talks about is late swap. So I think as long as the games that start at lock are confirmed, feel free to build lineups. And then, as more lineups get confirmed, you can go back late swap. We have the late swap pools now, which is great for making adjustments in the late swap portion of a slate. AK said, does FanDuel or DK seem more MLB friendly? I think that DK just has a better product overall. Their support's a lot better. They seem to care more about their DFS product than FanDuel does. It's really hard to get in contact with FanDuel support. And, like I touched on earlier, they do have a healthy contest selection for some of the alternate slates that they offer, which is great for getting additional action down under $3. All right. Clay Davis said, how to set a rule for one-off. So depends what you're asking. I think that you could do something like our baseline rule here. Like, hey, what this rule is saying is that you do not want a one-off with a low home run expectation. So you could do something like that. You could also say something like use exactly you do a group automatic rule where it's like use exactly 0 players that have, a projection less than like 5 or something like that. Or I mean, it has to be like an if then rule. I mean, that's the best thing that you could do. So some type of if then rule where it's like, hey, if I have a player that is this, do this. And what you're trying to do is saying like, hey, you could even do like a projection type rule, right? So if you do a group rule, automatic, where it says like, if at least one player on a team has a projection of less than 5, then use at least, 2 players from the same team, right? So what you're saying is like this would be a one-off rule where you're basically trying to curate your one-off pool essentially. So any player less than 5 projected points basically cannot be used as a one-off. And you could set this rule as high as you want based on projection, right? So, if any player less than 6, don't use it as a one-off. Any player less than 7, don't use it as a one-off. And then now you're basically saying, only use these batters that have high point projections as one-offs. So a lot of different ways to apply the rule. A group automatic if then rule is probably going to be your best friend for figuring that out. All right, Daniel Martinez said, when doing 150 max entry into the piggy bank, would you still keep a lot of diversity compared to just tuning lower min uniques to keep Saber score high in rankings? So good question. Really depends on the type of player you are. I would say that, MLB specifically, I'm trying to get more unique, more spread out than something like NBA, just due to the nature of the sport. So I think it's good to use a lot of min uniques in MLB specifically. And I am very comfortable, getting super wide, not having a lot of exposure to batters. I think, something in like the 30 to 40% range. If you're owning multiple batters over 50%, I would be very, very cautious of that. And honestly, like a little concerned as to why my exposures are so high. But even at Min Uniques 1 in this build that we ran, I know this is DraftKings, not FanDuel, but just using this as an example here, right off the bat with no additional Min Uniques applied, our highest exposure batter is 24%. I think that's totally fine. And then if we were to go in and apply Min Uniques to, half of our lineup, our highest exposed batter goes down to 16%. So kind of exactly what I want to see. I think that getting wide on these MLB slates is good. Atlanta is our highest implied team total team on the slate tomorrow. And at, 5 min uniques, our stack exposure is matching our pool exposure. I think pool exposure is always something good to refer to and just kind of guides you as to, how much leverage you're actually getting to this team compared to your pool, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that is a good measuring stick, a good guidepost to kind of just compare to overall. Ryan said DK has way better 20 maxes than FanDuel, which can get $100 a day down for you. Yeah, just a better, wider contest variety overall there. John Jones said, and really quickly, we are getting to the bottom end of our YouTube chat questions. So if anybody has any more questions, now is a great time to get them in. All right, John Jones said, do you prefer rebuilding the pool if a lineup comes in differently than planned? Or do you prefer a quick swap in baseball? No need to apologize, John. So I would say I would always lean late swap just because of the ability to now build a pool of lineups, have options, still be able to change stack types, individual exposures, min uniques, etc. I think last year, what I would have said is that, if you have put in a lot of work into your builds, and one little adjustment comes in, some catcher on some late game team gets swapped, maybe just do a quick swap and leave all of the other work that you've done up to that point. But now I'm not as concerned about that, just due to some of the app improvements that we've made. I think that you could run a late swap, still apply any value adds that you were doing previously, and still get to better lineups overall. So I would always go with late swap. The great thing about MLB is that, this information is going to be out in plenty of time for you to make these adjustments. You're not going to be right up against the clock trying to figure this out, hoping that you don't miss lock, etc. You should have plenty of time to figure out what is the best option and then kind of go from there. All right. Patrick said, is it better now to late swap or quick swap if a player is scratched during lock? So really similar to the question John just asked. So I think that answer kind of serves both questions, but I think it is going to be always better to late swap with some of the improvements that we've made to the app. Just one more time to reiterate that point there. All right. AK said the best part of MLB season is DFS during the work hours, especially on Tuesday, Thursdays. You get those split slates. You get like the early slate, and then you get the main slate, and you get to kind of sweat all day. So I really love MLB season, for that fact, and you kind of get a good mix. You get two big slates. So it is just a ton of fun playing MLB DFS. Really looking forward to it again here. But all right, everybody. Those were our last questions. Really happy to be introducing another major sport. Good luck in all your contests tomorrow. Tee time or tee off time. I mean, not tee off time, but first pitch is at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. So we will do this show at 2 p.m. Eastern. So looking forward to talking more MLB throughout the season here. But if you guys have questions ahead of opening day, today is the day to get the questions answered. We will not start the show prior to MLB starting. But Patrick said, do you think unique rank is a better fill method than unique random? I really like unique rank. It's something that I have begun to use really just like religiously. And the reason is I think that it takes away a lot of the what if, or man, my highest scoring lineup ended up in a lower dollar contest where I could have banked, this much money, but instead I banked this much money. By using unique rank, what you are doing is you are putting your best lineups based on your sorting method into whatever contest you have ranked highest. So what I like to do is I don't have a contest portfolio selection yet for MLB. But what I like to do is I like to sort by prize pool. So I'll go into my entries tab, and then I will rearrange the contest based on the prize pools and, what contests mean the most to me to win. And then I will fill my top, 20 lineups in that first 20 max, like say like the $4.20, and then my second 20 lineups and, my second 20 max, etc. And then regardless of how that works out, it's like, hey, at least I put my top 20 lineups into my highest dollar contest. And then I put my lowest ranked Saber score lineups into like my lowest entry $1.20 max. And it just so happened that, my highest scoring lineup was way, way down in my pool. And I probably would have never got to it either way. But at least, I have that peace of mind as to putting my best contest in my best, most cared about, my best lineups to my most cared about contests, and then just kind of rolling with it from there. So I think unique rank takes a lot of the what if away, and makes that feeling of winning, but winning at a lesser prize, a little more bearable. So that is why I like unique rank overall. But all right, everybody, I think that's our last question. Thank you all for tuning in. Plenty of more time to get baseball questions answered. If you guys have questions, building lineups, etc., throw them in the office hours channel. Let them sit there. We will get back to it on the very next show. Gets us a steady queue of questions to get rolling with. But until tomorrow, good luck in all of your contests tonight. And looking forward to talking more baseball as the season gets rolling. But until then, take care, good luck, and I will see you. Bye.